You know, I think somewhere along the way, we were taught that the ego makes us bad, that the parts of us that react, defend, cling, protect, or even overthink are flaws, something broken, something sinful, something that needs to be punished or suppressed. But what if I told you that the ego is not the enemy of your spiritual path? It is the wounded child of it? What if ego isn't sin, but a survival instinct that formed long before you had the language to understand what you were feeling? And what if Jesus never condemned the ego, but actually taught us how to understand it, soothe it, and transform it back into love? Let's talk about that today, because this teaching has been buried, twisted, renamed, and misunderstood for centuries. But once you see it, it changes everything. Take a moment, breathe, maybe place your hand over your heart, and feel into this question. When did you first learn to defend yourself? Not mentally, emotionally. Was it the moment someone rejected you? The day your parent walked out of the house in anger? Was it when the person you cared about didn't choose you back? When you realized your needs weren't safe in someone else's hands? Or maybe it was something gentler, like quietly learning that love isn't always steady, and connection isn't always guaranteed. The ego is the scar tissue that forms over the wound. It is not the wound itself. And Jesus understood this deeply. In the Gospel of Mary, Mary Magdalene teaches the disciples that the ego, what she calls the counterfeit spirit, is not evil. It's confused. It's lost. It's afraid. It reacts not because it hates, but because it learned to protect you in the only way it knew how. And think about Jesus' words for a moment. Over and over again, he says, "Fear not. Be not afraid. My peace I give to you." Peace is the antidote to fear, not punishment. Love is the remedy, not shame. Every time Jesus heals someone, he says, "Your faith has made you whole." Not your perfection, not your self-denial, not your condemnation. Faith, meaning trust, openness, willingness. Healing comes from expanding into truth, not shrinking into guilt. If ego were sin, Jesus would have attacked it, but instead, he soothed it. He spoke to the frightened parts of people with such gentleness that they remembered who they were beneath all the fear. The ego is the shell you grew, but the soul is the seed inside it. And here's something the early Christian mystics taught. The ego only exists because you once needed it. Something in your life said, you must protect your heart. You must stay safe. You must survive this moment. And so a part of your psyche stepped forward and said, I've got you. This is why your ego reacts the strongest in the places where you were hurt the deepest. When someone pulls away, it stirs abandonment wounds. When someone disrespects your boundaries, it stirs old moments of helplessness. When someone misunderstands you, it echoes the times you weren't heard. When someone doesn't reciprocate, it awakens the moments you felt unworthy. And yet we blame ourselves for these reactions, instead of recognizing them as the body's way of saying, this is where love is needed the most. In the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus says, when you make the inner like the outer, and the above like the below, then you will enter the kingdom. And this is the mystical teaching. The ego becomes sinful only when we forget it's a defense. The moment we think the ego is who we are, we become trapped in its illusions. But when we recognize it as something we developed, something trying to protect us, we can finally choose differently. Let me tell you something personal, something you might relate to. Have you ever had a moment where someone ignored you, and a small part of you spiraled inside? Not because the moment was huge, but because it hit something old, something unhealed? That's the ego, trying to prepare you for disappointment before disappointment arrives. Or maybe when someone left your life, part of you panicked. You weren't actually afraid of losing them. You were afraid of being abandoned again. That is ego, trying to stop you from feeling that original heartbreak. Or maybe the moment you start to feel happy, something inside warns you, don't trust this. That's ego again, shielding you from collapse by refusing to let you climb too high. The ego is not evil, it's exhausted. And this right here, is where Jesus' teaching on compassion reaches its deepest point. He says, love your neighbor as yourself, which means the first command is love yourself, including the parts that overreact, including the parts that still fear, including the parts that don't know how to trust yet, including the ego. Why? Because you cannot cast out fear with judgment. Only love dissolves fear. Only love transforms the ego. Only love reminds your nervous system that safety exists again. And Mary Magdalene's gospel gives us a blueprint. She says the soul ascends by removing the powers. These are the layers of fear identities we built. Each layer says something like, I am not enough. I must protect myself. I must earn love. I cannot trust. I must stay on guard. And Jesus teaches her that liberation comes not by punishing these layers, but by seeing through them, by understanding their origin, by remembering they are not the true self, but the frightened self. So if you have ever judged yourself for reacting, if you've ever felt ashamed for being triggered, if you've ever told yourself, I should be past this by now, please hear this. Your ego reacts because a younger version of you still needs reassurance. You haven't failed. You haven't regressed. You're not spiritually immature. You are simply meeting the place where love was missing. And healing begins the moment compassion enters the equation. Jesus never asked anyone to hate themselves. He asked them to return to the truth of who they are. Love in motion. So today, I want you to imagine this with me. Imagine your ego not as a villain, but as a child standing guard at the door of your heart. Imagine the tension it's holding, the weight it's carrying, the fear it has been managing for years. And then imagine yourself kneeling beside this child and saying, thank you for protecting me. But you don't have to do it alone anymore. I'm here now. When you stop fighting your ego and start tending to it, something remarkable happens. Your reactions soften, your fear loosens its grip, your triggers become teachers instead of prisons, and your identity shifts from defended to liberated. And suddenly, Jesus' words make sense on a deeper level. The truth will set you free. Not the truth of doctrine, not the truth of a belief system, but the truth of your inner landscape, the truth of why your ego formed, the truth of what you're protecting, the truth that nothing real can be threatened and nothing unreal exists. Fear is the unreal. Love is the real. And your ego has always been a frightened part of you, trying to guide you back to what is real. So be gentle with yourself. You're not battling sin. You're healing fear. You're not fighting your ego. You're evolving beyond its need to control your life. You're not failing spiritually. You're meeting the exact wounds Jesus came to free humanity from. And maybe, just maybe, you're closer to wholeness than you've ever realized. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this message spoke to something deep inside you, if it helped you understand parts of yourself with more compassion, more clarity, more spiritual truth, I would love for you to stay connected. Make sure you subscribe, tap the like button, and share this with someone who might be carrying the weight of their own defenses right now. And if you want more teachings like this, the hidden teachings, the mystical teachings, the ones that awaken your soul instead of filling your mind with fear, then come back for the next episode. Until then, be gentle with your heart, because you're not broken, you're becoming.